Allah wa bayakum, my dear brothers in Islam and our sisters. Which day of Ramadan is today? The 12th or the 11th? 11th. How many days have gone so far? How many days are complete? 10 days. So that means 1/3 of Ramadan has gone. Now the question is, what have I achieved in the last 10 days of Ramadan? The first 10 days of Ramadan that came and went, what have I achieved? Did I have any goals that I set for myself? And if I did set goals for myself, have I been able to achieve those goals? Did I get closer to them? Have I far exceeded my goals or not? We need to ask ourselves these questions. For example, when it comes to my salah, remember the most important act of worship that we do after the kalima, after the shahada, is a salah. Have I been on top of my salah? That's the first question. Also, we need to ask ourselves and say, have I been on top of my fasting, the month of Ramadan? Have I been on top of my sadaqah, the charity? Have I been on top of my Quran recitation? Have I been reciting enough Quran? Remember, 1/3 of the month has already gone. And we need to constantly remind ourselves about this. As a human being, we are very forgetful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, من صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. So dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we are at a crossroad right now. The middle 10 has just started. Ahead of us we have the last 10. But before we get to the last 10, how are we going to utilize the middle 10? We need to look back and look at the utilization of the first 10 days. Did we utilize the first 10 days of Ramadan wisely? Have we been able to put enough effort into getting and gaining and extracting the best out of the first 10 days? Each and every one of us, we need to ask ourselves that question. Remember the hadith that we recently reminded ourselves. When the Prophet ﷺ has said 3 times on top of his pulpit, Ameen. And then the Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked one of them, he said, I was saying Ameen to the dua of Jibreel alayhi salam. And one of the things that Jibreel has said is the following. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives one of us the opportunity to come into contact with the month of Ramadan and you have not been forgiven at the end of Ramadan, Jibreel has made dua against you. And the Prophet ﷺ has said Ameen to that dua. It's quite serious. We don't want to be regretful by the end of Ramadan. We don't want Ramadan to come and go. And the first day of Eid, we say to ourselves, I wish I have done enough. Ramadan came and went. And I don't think I was forgiven because I have not done enough. As an example, Qatada, rahimahullah ta'ala, كما ذكر ابن رجب الحنبلي رحمه الله تعالى, Qatada used to finish the Quran once every 7 nights. And these were the nights that were outside of the month of Ramadan. And when Ramadan begins, in the first 20 days, he used to finish the Quran every 3 nights. And then when the last 10 days come, he used to finish how many times? Once every single night. You can see, subhanallah, the intensity and the pace was on the rise. So ask yourself right now and say, have I been doing enough? the first 10 days, is my iman getting stronger? Am I finding the recitation of the Quran easier right now? Am I able to do acts of worship with ease? Or still am I feeling it as a burden? And I feel like, oh, why do I have to do this? Is it too much? Ask yourself these questions. And inshallah ta'ala, the last 10 days, the middle 10 days have just begun. And remember, just before Ramadan began, I was saying to all of us, I was saying to myself and all of you, Ramadan is about to start. Soon I will be saying to you, Ramadan has ended. Okay? And we can also almost see it right now. The last 10 days are upon us. Today is the 11th, but soon you will hear me saying the last 10 days have started. And soon after that, you'll hear me saying tomorrow is Eid. Just think about it. So now, what can I do then? The question is, what can I do right now? We still have 2/3 of the month left. Still 2/3 of the month. We still have plenty of time. So inshallah ta'ala, set yourself a target. The targets that you set for yourself at the beginning, see how many of them you have been able to achieve. And now, set the goal even higher and put more effort into it. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to assist you. And inshallah ta'ala, I want to make this reminder a short one. I don't want to make it long. I want to make it very short. So inshallah ta'ala, I want to conclude it with the following hadith, inshallah ta'ala. With the following hadith. A man came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and said to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, I want you to teach me something. And I don't want to ask anyone after you about it. So what I'm going to ask you is something which is holistic. I want you to give me an answer that will never require me to ask somebody else anything regarding this matter. And what do you think the Prophet ﷺ said to him? The Prophet ﷺ said to him, قُلْ آمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ. Say, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then be upright upon that path. Istiqamah. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. What did Allah promise them? تَتَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ أَلَّا تَخَافُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ تُوعَدُونَ. Istiqamah, uprightness. Okay? Being steadfast upon the right path, the straight path. Okay? Istiqamah. So right now, this is the beginning. And last night, remember, when we were flying over the aerospace of Surah Hud, some of the ulama, they have said, when the Prophet ﷺ has said, شَيَّبَتْنِي هُودٌ وَأَخَوَاتُهَا, when the Prophet ﷺ said that, some of the ulama, they said, there was a particular ayah that made the Prophet ﷺ's head go grey. There was a particular ayah. Which ayah do you think it was? فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ وَلَا تَطْغَوْا. فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. Be steadfast. Okay? The way that you have been commanded to be steadfast. فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. So this ayah and the ayat we have just recited and the hadith requires from us what? Istiqamah, uprightness, steadfastness. Okay? Being steadfast upon the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't just plan right now and say, oh Allah, when is Ramadan going to finish? I want Ramadan to finish. I want to just, inshallah ta'ala, get out of the month of Ramadan and just feel how I used to be in the past. Okay? Just be like myself as I was before. No. Your istiqamah should begin and it has to continue until death takes you away from here. فَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. Continue to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until when? Until Ramadan finishes? Until you become like old? No. Continue worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until death comes. وَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. Okay? Always have that mindset. Mindset is very important. Having the right mindset. Okay? I want you to remember 3 M's. 3 M's are very important. 3 M's are very important. The first M is the mindset. The mindset that you have. What set the companions apart from the rest of the people? Their mindset. And I'll just give you one example. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was signing the contract with the people of Al-Ansar, when Prophet ﷺ was signing the contract with the people of Al-Ansar, when he was in Mecca, before he made his way to Medina, he said to the people of Ansar, the people of Ansar said to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet said to them, I want you to take care of me if I move to Medina. And they said, Ya Rasulullah, we'll take care of you. And then they said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, what are we going to get in return? What are we going to get in return? And the Prophet ﷺ said to them, you will get Jannah. That's what you're going to get in return. If you defend me, if you follow me, if you are steadfast upon the path, what you're going to get is Jannah. What was their mindset? Their mindset was like, khalas, we need to defend the Prophet ﷺ. We have to follow the religion of Islam. We have to be upright and steadfast upon the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first M is mindset. Get your mindset right. The second one is what? Your motivation. Your motivation. What is it that motivates you to do the ibadah? Why are you worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Your motivation is very important. What is it that motivates you to do whatever you want to do in life? Nobody does anything without motivation. What is it that is motivating you? The pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you one day, I am happy with you. والسابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنهم. They have reached the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them, that was the motivation. Making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what? The one who's going to be pleased with you. And the last one is what? The last M is methodology. What is the method that you use to achieve your goal? Very important. You have to follow the right methodology. Otherwise, you're just going to be in a circle, go round and round and round and never get anywhere. Get your method right. The methodology is very important. So these 3 M's, in everything that you want to do in life, get these 3 M's right. The mindset, the motivation, and the methodology. And inshallah ta'ala, you will achieve your goal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who achieve their goals in this month of Ramadan and also subsequently the months that will come as well, inshallah ta'ala. So brothers, we are on a journey. We are just at the beginning of the journey. 1/3 is gone. We still have 2/3 left. Don't give up. Focus on your target. If you didn't have a target, set your target. If you don't have target, how do you expect to hit your target? If you can't see a target, how do you expect to hit your target? Remember that. حياكم الله وبياكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.